So who wants to talk Harry Potter? Hey you guys, I'm here to review Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, of course. I've decided to reread the series because I've been feeling like doing it for like the longest time ever. It was one of my goals for this year, and I started to do it like a month and a half ago. But anyway, let's talk about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first book in the series. And yeah, it's been a while since I've read this. I was reading it and just thinking about the first time that I read it, and it was so nice, and I realized I have 3 copies of this book. That's how much I love this damn series. I was also listening to the audiobook at the same time. If you haven't heard it, I really much do recommend it. Like, seriously, listen to it. It's amazing. Okay, so when you're first getting into the first chapter, you spend a full day with the Dursleys, and you hear all these people mentioning around Vernon Dursley, Harry's uncle. Like, you hear sort of snippets, and he hears something about the Potters, and he's just like, that could be anybody's name, right? Right? It could be. But yeah, no. Basically, the Wizarding World at the time is celebrating that, Hugh must not be named, was defeated, and Vernon Dursley hears mentions of the Potters, and, he tries to chalk it up to, that's totally common. Let's just go with that. It's common. But of course, it turns out like it does in the movie, but Harry's left on their doorstep, and then the next chapter we jump, it's been 10 years, and he's been living with them all this time, and they treat him horribly, and they're horrible to him. Just, ugh. When Harry is at school, and it's described the fact that, obviously he doesn't know he's a wizard, but there is one point where he's trying to get away from Dudley and Dudley's friends, and somehow Harry winds up on the roof of the school. And how do you explain that? And Harry's just like, all this weird stuff always happens to me. I don't get it. I don't know. He doesn't know anything, which is why, someone should have just told him, hey, your parents are wizards. So yeah, you should know that. It's so hilarious though, and you're just like, Harry on roof? What? How does he get up there? Picture that. Little tiny Harry Potter, almost age 11, and he winds up on the roof of the school. Like, imagine him trying to get away from Dudley and all his friends. Just imagine that in your head. Honestly, it makes you laugh, because you're just like, how does he get up there? He has no idea of anything, and it's just like, all this weird stuff happens to him, and of course the whole thing with the snake happens when they go to the zoo, and he's just like, I don't know, why does this always happen to me? But of course, when Hagrid comes to tell Harry that, of course, he's a wizard, and wondering why he hasn't been answering any of his letters from Hogwarts, because he's been getting them all, but of course, he tries to open the first one, and Dudley gets it away from him, and then the Dursleys figure out where it's from, and of course don't tell him anything. It's just like, oh, you don't need this. But it's for him. It's his letter. That was driving me nuts. I'm like, seriously? I just thought of it recently, watching Sorcerer's Stone, the film, and I was like, Harry, why didn't you open that like somewhere else? But he wasn't thinking, because he's like, I don't read mail, so why would anyone care that he got mail? But yes, Hagrid comes to tell Harry, why isn't he answering his letters, and to get him to school and everything, and just, see what's going on. Why hasn't he been answering Dumbledore? Why hasn't he been answering any of his letters? Hagrid coming in is just one of the best things. I love Hagrid. It was one of my favorite moments in the film, and one of my favorite moments to read in the book once again. Hagrid is so awesome. I love Hagrid. But of course, that part in the book, I hadn't read it in a long time, so reading it again, I was just like, he explained everything all at once. I'm really glad the movie spaced it out. But basically, he explains everything to Harry. He's a wizard, how his parents died, who killed them, and the Dursleys are just like standing around cowering in the corner, because, they're scared because Hagrid's a giant, and he can maybe do magic stuff. But yes, Hagrid then starts taking like a billion things out of all his pockets, because he's huge and has this giant coat, and just takes everything in the world out of it. I think there's a tea kettle and sausages, and he just starts heating up everything, and he has this tiny little pink umbrella thingy. But I'm just like, okay, that entire thing in the book, I'm very glad they spaced it out in the movie, because that is what I was introduced to Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was, I first watched the movie. I always say I cheated with Harry Potter. I saw the first film, and then I couldn't find the first book anywhere for the longest time. And by the time Chamber of Secrets came out, it was out of theaters. I had read the first one and was reading the second book, and then I wound up watching the second film, and it just kept going from there. But, like, that entire part, he explains everything all at once, and it's like, well, Harry could stay there, or he could go to magic school. Like, seriously, if you had the option, and Hagrid came to you and was like, so, you're a wizard, want to go to magic school? Everyone would go to magic school. In the chapters beforehand, before Hagrid comes, and when he's sort of out and about, Harry, he'll be, like, out with Petunia and Dudley, like, shopping for school or whatnot, or just, he'll be out with them because they reluctantly take him everywhere. And he'll just randomly have people, thank you, Mr. Potter, thank you. And he's just like, who the hell are all these damn people thanking me? Like, they all just, like, are walking up to him, hi, Harry, all this stuff. Because they know who he is, but he doesn't know anything. So he's just like, I am so confused. Who are all of you people? I don't know. Then he tries asking, of course, but then Grace is like, no, because they're horrible to him. Just, all the time, just imagine, thank you, Harry. Okay. It's just like what? When we originally meet Draco Malfoy, like, seriously, Draco is such a little twerp. You think something could be redeemable about him in the end, but then I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I love Tom Felton. He did a great performance in all of the 8 movies and everything, but oh my god. Everything in the book is just like, it's very similar to the film, which I do love. I love the movies. I love the books. It's like, rereading it was so fun to get back into the world again and get sort of reintroduced to certain characters. When you meet Ron and all his siblings, it's like kind of all at once, and it's just so crazy and fun, and they're so loud. But I love, there's one point, of course, when Hagrid gets the dragon, and I just love Hagrid and how much he loves all these magical creatures, but he loves having this dragon, and he names him Norbert. Out of everything on the planet, why did you name him Norbert? Like, why did you come to that name? I mean, it's not a bad thing, I'm just very confused, mostly. It's just like, Hagrid, why Norbert? But I love the fact that Hagrid, he gets this dragon, he's not allowed to keep it, but how do you get rid of it? You ask Harry and Ron and Hermione to help you. You ask 3 first years who aren't supposed to do stuff like that. It's just like, of course, they go to help Hagrid get Norbert and give him to Ron's brother, who ends up coming. And I'm picturing all this in my head. I'm like, this sounds very strange for 3 11-year-olds. They're 11. Imagine them doing that, and then Harry also has his invisibility cloak with him. But it's just like, Hagrid, why would you ask them? You know that there are school rules, and it's just like, really? Really? Harry has his invisibility cloak with him, and they are trying to get Harry and Hermione under the cloak with Norbert, and I'm picturing like a little crate of some sort, but like, all of that, and you're just, Harry winds up, they wind up getting him upstairs and everything. They get to the top of, I believe, the astronomy tower. They get up there, they get Norbert up there safely and everything, and of course Ron isn't with them, but they do all that, and then they go back down the stairs without Harry's invisibility cloak. Come on. Really? It always bugs me. I'm just like, you have the invisibility cloak and you're not using it. You know it's there. You just used it. Come on, guys. You know that. Yes, when, of course, every time they get in trouble, they lose house points. So there's the hourglass showing all of their house points, and it goes down. So therefore, all the Gryffindors to Harry, Ron, and Hermione. I just love how at one point Harry decides, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to stop meddling in things. I'm just going to, do my schoolwork. I'm just going to, not get involved in anything. He's not going to meddle. And literally like 5 seconds later, yeah, that goes out the window. That goes out of his brain very, very quickly. You are James Potter's son. Okay, you're going to get involved in crap even if you don't want to. It's like genetic, man. When Harry, Ron, and Hermione think that Snape is trying to get the stone the entire time. They are just accusing him, but they see, Snape and Quirrell in the room, and they never, of course, accuse Quirrell. But I'm just like, come on. Now when you look back on it, it's kind of obvious, but not really. I'm just like, oh, that bugs me so much. Like, why didn't we ever suspect him, stupid Quirrell? I love every time they're playing wizard chess, because the pieces obviously move on their own. One of them at one point I thought was a little funny. It like nods to Ron. It's like, hey, okay then. I thought that was cute. It's like, that's the only time chess looks kind of fun to me, because I'm not really a chess player. And they go down to stop Snape from getting the stone, I believe. That's whenever they finally get to the end where they are doing the whole huge chessboard, because they have to go through everything. One of the chess pieces, apparently it like nods at Ron, like, because I think he asked something, and then it like nods at him, and it's like, that would look kind of weird. I think that's why it just like sort of turns in the movie, but I don't know. I can't remember how Harry learns this, but Harry ends up learning about Snape's past with his father, James, and he learns of their rivalry, against each other, and they had a rivalry. It's so crazy to know that eventually once I get to Deathly Hallows, all that gets sort of explained in the end, and, James did save Snape, so he feels sort of, I feel like, obligated, obviously, because this is Lily's son. But I'm just like, in the beginning, no matter what, you want to hate Snape, because he looks like a villain, he kind of acts like a villain, he seems like a two-faced type of guy, but it doesn't wind up being him who steals the stone, obviously. It's Quirrell. And automatically, all I can think of with Professor Quirrell is the fact that the back of his head was Lord Voldemort. And you know what happened? Fred and George were throwing snowballs at the back of his head at one point. So technically, they were like hitting Voldemort in the back of the head. That's not weird at all. The whole James and Snape rivalry thing, that was just interesting, like a little tidbit to obviously what's to come, what Harry will learn over the series. And that's very interesting to start off with. Like, he finds out just small information, obviously, and then as the series grows, he learns so much more, like in Order of the Phoenix, which I can't wait to get to again. I loved exploring this book again. I loved the fact that one of my favorite scenes is also one of my favorite scenes in the book and in the movie, and that is the House Cup whenever they are handing out all the points. That is just one of my favorite scenes of all time in the book and in the film. But like, you hear everyone getting their points, and who also gets 10 points is Neville, who's one of my favorite characters. Neville winning house points for Gryffindor is just still so awesome to me, because the fact that he never really feels like he fits into Gryffindor, and he always, can't live up to the pressure. He feels like he's so cute and adorable, and I love rewatching the movie because Matthew Lewis is just so tiny and so cute and little. I love the series so much. Because at the end of the book, when they are at King's Cross again and everyone's saying goodbye and, saying I'll see you, next school term and everything, you see Vernon Dursley obviously come up and get Harry, and then Mrs. Weasley is there. I'm just like, those are two characters I kind of wish would have had that in the movie. That could have been very interesting. Someone who can't stand Harry to someone who loves him no matter what. That could have been really fun, or just really strange to see on screen. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. Well, that was my little tiny review of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And I am just so happy and in love with this series, of course. But just like, I love the fact that it was such a fun time again. Like, I haven't read it in so long. I was so happy to go back to it. And I have such fond memories of reading it the first time. And I remember laughing so much, the first few times that I've read it. And now just exploring it all over again. This is the first time I'm reading it as an adult. I haven't read it in that long. I'm just like, oh my goodness. why haven't I read this in so long? But it's still so fun, and I loved re-exploring the world. And I am so ready for Chamber of Secrets. So yeah, I can't wait to get to that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you later.